Hey guys, what's up? I am Zacchae'us Paul, and we are breaking down my new song, Hot Fries, with Micheo Music Producer Series. Let's get it.
They asked me what I did today. No, I didn't outside. They asked me what I did today. No, I sitting outside.
All right, so the song Hot Fries came about when I was trying to find a couple songs for my album, and I came across one of my homies. His name is Joseph Bless. We studied in high school together, and I seen that he had posted a couple things on Instagram, and this was the record that I heard on Instagram, the clip. All right, so after I heard that, I was like, "Yo, send me that like right now, bro. Like that junk hard." So after he sent it to me, I just kind of repurposed it and sent it to my homie Brandon and homie Morgan Guerin, and just kind of just repurposed it. So let's check it out right now. All right, so before we jump into the mix, I want to talk a little bit about the speakers that I'm mixing on. It's the IK Multimedia MTMs. For any producers or mix engineers that are kind of don't have the budget basically to like soundproof their room or acoustically treat their room, these are a great fit because they attune to your room. So you just put the microphones that come with it, and they basically just can hear and sense your atmosphere around you. So they're really dope. So let's jump into the mix. All right, so basically what I always start with the vocals first, and I listen to it, of course. So right now I have everything muted, so I'm gonna kind of just remix it for everybody. So here we go.
They asked me what I did today.
All right. So for the vocals, I basically just have everything. I try to level everything before I put any effects or even EQ it. But when I do EQ, I always do take at least about negative. I do not a hard low EQ, but I cut about 80 to 90 hertz, maybe a little bit more. It depends. So yeah, so I'm gonna do that for all the background vocals. We just focusing on background vocals. So I try to have everything mono first, so you can actually hear how it sounds. So it's just the vocals. So. So I really want to just kind of hear the ooh, I want to hear the main lead a little bit more. I mean, it's all unison, but I want to hear the higher end a little bit more clear. So now I'm gonna start doing the cuts. Okay, so I'm gonna do about 114 hertz cut on all of them. So I'm gonna just copy that. All right. Okay, so after that, I'm gonna just start trying to put a little bit of compression on everything, on all the background vocals. I usually like my vocals a little bit more natural, but it's all up to you. So let's do that. All right, just a little hard, a little cute, and I'm gonna just copy all that everywhere. All right, so now I'm gonna just listen to it. It sounded a little bit better. And for this record, I wanted it to be a little bit rugged, if that makes sense, because The song is definitely about black culture, and I wanted to be a little bit more like that's the kind of vibe I wanted. So I didn't want the vocals to be so perfect. So now I'm gonna just start panning everything. Let me do. I like to do hard pan. So left highs. I do one high. I like to do two highs, two mid highs, two mids, and two mid lows. Everybody records vocals a little bit differently, but that's how I like to stack mine. I don't like too much. Some people do three per section, but if you do two, it's a good balance. So let's just do that. All right, gonna pan every last one of them. Left, right. All right, now here's how it sounds. Okay.
They ask me what I did today. No, I sitting outside with them hot fries. They ask me what I did today. No, I sitting outside with them hot fries. Sitting outside.
So for my stuff, I recorded this all in my house. So I needed it to be as clear as I could get it. So usually for my vocal chain, I do EQ, compressor, no EQ, de-esser, compressor, or yes, something like that. Preamp, whatever, whatever you choose is up to you. But that's just kind of how I do it. So for the lead, I basically do the same thing with the backgrounds, but I want it to be a little bit clear. So I may boost the highs or the mids a little bit more. It just depends on where you're recording it. So that's why these speakers are great for your in room, so you can hear exactly how it sounds for your room type if you don't have any kind of acoustic treatment. So you just put them on a desk like this. Usually I have mine on a stand and I have them ears, your ears level. But this is great too for people that can afford, for a stand. So let's just hear it with the vocals.
They ask me what I did today. No, I sitting outside with them hot fries. They ask me what I did today. No, I sitting outside with them hot fries.
All right, so now they sound pretty tight. Like they're not perfect. Everything's not in tune. So let's go to the pitch correct. Now, if anyone has Logic or Pro Tools or anything, they probably use Melodyne. But I use Pitch Flex, which is built into Logic. And I'm gonna just go through a little bit of it. So you really can tune. It's not an auto tune. Auto tune is different than a pitch correction. So auto tune, you can. I mean, with pitch correction, you can change the vibrato, and really, you can change kind of where you want to go. So here I just kind of have everything not perfect, but I have everything in tune kind of, but I kind of fix the vibrato, stuff like that. So yes, this is everything.
They ask me what I did today. No, I sitting outside with them hot fries. They ask me what I did today. No, I sitting outside with them hot fries.
So that's how I do my vocals. All right, so guys, we're gonna move on to the keys now. For this, I usually try to do the same kind of thing I do with my background vocals. I don't add a lot of compression depending on how good the recording is. So you want to have the recording about between -16 and -6. I mean that's usually what I try to go for. But of course, it's up to you to experiment on what sounds good for the music that you make. So, but I think this is a good tip for any genre of music that you guys make. So for this, I just do a normal time-based reverb, delay, and I do also just a low cut around like 115. So this is how it sounds. So this is the middle of the song. Let's try it out.
Ask me what I did today. No, I sitting outside with them hot fries. They ask me what I did today. No, I sitting outside with them hot fries.
So this is the keys solo. So you want to try to go one by one, and I always have a group of all of everything, and I try to have that, try to have that around zero or like negative. It depends on how loud you want how loud you want the record. So yeah, I just try to go through here and like, cut a little bit, see what you want. I usually, like I said, I usually like to have mine more natural. So let's go through all of them. I do low cut on that one. So like I said, you really want to try to have everything very balanced. So yeah, try that and try. I usually do like a pan for some. So like for example, for these last two, I might try to like pan it a little bit. So that's the keys section for hot fries. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the drums. The drums, it's definitely a little bit more sacred to me. So I definitely want to try to have the most tightest drums as I can. Like I said, Joseph sent me the stems very clean. Everything was the exact vibe that I want. So a tip that you can put on your mix bus. So like try to group all your. What I do, I group all of my drums together, and I try to send it through maybe compression or a tape emulator. I use the tape by Softtube, or you can use uh you know I use the, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, the RC20, which is a great plugin that you can use for just like mix bus for drums is awesome. So, but right now the mix is kind of where I want it as far as the sound of it. So I'm just gonna just play a little bit for you. And now we're in the part where the drums are like, very heavy at this point. So we're in the first verse. Let's just check it out.
Money on me, yeah. Money on me, yeah. Right as me, yeah. Body that's me, yeah. It's all in my name, yeah. It's all in my name, yeah. Don't be questioning my game, yeah. Get you insane.
All right. So other than levels, right? You want to try to this emulator I have has different tape emulations. For the actual worker, I actually sent it to a homie in New York, and he actually ran it through tape for me. So that's an option for anyone that's trying to look for a certain sound. For this project, I was really looking for something more like 70s, modern 70s sounding. So try to just the tape, it just gives it like an extra color, extra, it kind of just glues everything together. So I think it's a very dope thing that you could do. Also, you can try to add like noise, like a little bit of white noise. So let's hear it. Let's solo it. All right. So got a tape stop, all that. And there's also presets that you can use. All right. So that definitely gives it a little bit more color. So right now I'm definitely just gonna just use mm, just do like a clean master for it. Add a little bit of noise. Also, let's check out with the RC20. You can get more creative with this. Um so you have a vinyl sounding noise. I usually try to like noise. I usually try to put that on the mix bus so everything can kind of go in. You don't want your drums having a lot of vinyl sound, and the keys don't sound like that. That's just my personal opinion. So you can get really funky with this. All right. I'm gonna just leave it, as is. So now you're gonna let me add it with the keys. And so you want to try to just get. I usually try to do for everything that's not a kick or in the low end of the mix. I try to just do like a nice little low end sweep, not too much that it'll lose the forceness of the stem, but definitely enough so your low end can be, great and it can be present. So now we're gonna move into the low end. All right, so now we're gonna go into the bass, to the low end. This is definitely my favorite part. I for my workflow, I always go in the order that we just went in: vocals, keys, drums, bass, and horns or strings. Lastly, so definitely the bass, you want to have it to where it's present, depending on the style of music that you choose, and the performance, of course, of the bass and how it's recorded. All that factors into how good the mix can come out. So Brandon Chorus recorded this bass, um, and it really fit well with the vocals, because the vocals, like I said, it's Atlanta staple, hot fries. Anyone from Atlanta, you did Atlanta staple. So this one really fit in with like how I wanted it to be portrayed. So let's check it out.
We don't want no sequels. We don't want no sequels. We don't want no sequels. They ask me what I did today. I sitting outside with them hot fries. They ask me what I did today. I sitting outside with them hot fries.
All right, so it's real bouncy. It's real Atlanta. You did. So let's just kind of just strip it. I do very simple things with this. All I do is a time bass with a reverb, and I do a bus to a chorus. That's it. That chorus, one of my good friends, Daniel from New York, he was like, yo man, chorus will really like clean up the bass and really give it some atmosphere. I was throwing a bunch of plugins, and clearly, as you can see in my mix, like bro, I don't have that many effects. I don't have that many plugins as well. So you don't need every plugin. You don't need everything. You don't need to spend money. If you can get the plugins inside of your DAW and get some good speakers like the MTMs and get a good interface like this M Audio, then you won't need anything else. Everything else will just be add-on. So everything can be done inside of the DAW without any outboard gear. I personally use outboard gear, but to record, first starting off, you don't need to spend that much money. Just try to get the music down. If your performance is good, if the music is good, everything else will in return sound good. So yeah, so make sure the composition is good, then make sure the recording is good, then the mix and master, all that will follow. All right, so cool. So let's just work on this bass a little bit.
We don't want no sequels. We don't want no sequels. We don't want no sequels.
So as you see, I have a cut. I use the stock plugin for this, like for this EQ curve. I just cut a little bit off for the reverb. So you don't need the low end for all of the reverbs that you have. And like I said, it muddies up the low end. So you want to try to clean up everything, every stem you have. Try to clean it up so like that low end can flourish. So I just have no EQ on the chorus. I just have a bus, and so.
We don't want no sequels. We don't want no sequels. We don't want no sequels. They ask me what I did today.
Widens it up a little bit.
Sitting outside with them hot fries. They ask me what I did today. Sitting outside with them hot fries. Sitting outside with them hot fries. Sitting outside with them hot fries.
So anyway, Brandon had a really good sound anyway for this record. So, But you experiment this with electronic sub, any kind of electric bass. You can try it with the chorus and just have a little bit of reverb.
We don't want no sequels. We don't want no sequels. We don't want no sequels. They ask me what I did today. I sitting outside.
For all the time bass, even for the vocals, like let me go back to the vocals real quick. I try to have all of it. I try to have every vocal a little bit distance from each other, like as far as the time base. Like I try to have chorus, all of the backgrounds. I try to have all the backgrounds on the same reverb, but like all of the individual ones, I definitely cut it off. So yeah, so here we go. So now we're gonna move on to the saxophone. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the saxophone. The saxophone, I didn't need to do much to it. Morgan sent me the stems very clean, very great engineered, literally. So as you can see on here, it's just a little bit of peaks, and the vibe that I needed, it was really I really needed it to sound like in your room, like kind of in your face, kind of. And he really provided that performance. So let's listen to it. Anyone that knows me, that's followed my music, know that I just love. I'm a jazz guy, and I love solos. I love very musical things, like abstract, as you could say. It's a little corny, but you know. So what I did for this, I'm gonna show you. This is what happened. Look at that, just a delay. That's all I did for it. The recording was so good that I didn't need to put anything on it. I just put a little delay, and that's where I pertain to saying that if you have a great recording, everything else will follow. Great composition, great recording, everything else will follow. So definitely, I encourage you guys to definitely check out the MTMs, check out the M Audio interfaces, and definitely just check out things inside of your plugins that are free. Check out free plugins. Check out things that you don't need to spend money on right now. Because you don't want to over necessarily spend, because you could have all the plugins in the world and your mix is still bad. So you don't want that. So definitely go into your DAW, whatever you choose. This is not just for Logic. You can use it for any DAW that you have. You can get the sound that you want anywhere you want, even on a GarageBand. Just try your best to get a good sounding room. Get speakers that can conform to your room, like the MTMs. So yes. So lastly, let's talk about a little bit about the mix bus. So when it comes to mix bus, you need to have a couple things. All right. I always try to have a tape emulation. Now, I personally sent this, like I said earlier, I sent this record to a homie in New York to run it through tape at GSI Studios in New York. Check them out. But I just have a tape emulation for this example. Um, like I said, you have a start, stop, noise. Play around with the sounds, and try to get something that'll glue together. Because when I got the tape reference, well, the tape stems back, everything was so glued together. There's something about that analog feel and the digital world that just gives it another kind of sound. Lastly, you need a loudness meter. Okay, get you one. There's one in your DAW, but if you want to buy one, go right ahead. You have, like, for my loudness meter, it shows me the levels for each of the streaming platforms. For example, Spotify, the master needs to be around -14. For your mix, you want to try to have it around -16, -17. You want to try to give it room for the mastering engineer to have headroom. Okay. Now try to get it around -17, and if it's still too loud, I recommend, okay, going through all of your buses and turning everything down a couple dB. All right. And if it's still too loud, turn the master down. Don't touch the stereo output. Turn the master down. See, you can see I have mine around -5. So get you a loudness meter. If you don't have one, your DAW should have one. If not, you should check this one out. It's from Uline, and it has all of the streaming services, all that there. So this is a wrap. This is everything. I've showed you my secrets to the records. So please, please, please listen to Hot Fries. It's out everywhere on every streaming platform. Big shout out to Micheo Music for doing this mix down, the producer series, and shout out to MTM's, IK Multimedia. Definitely, if you are starting, or even if you're not starting, if you're already professional at engineering or producing, definitely try out the MTM's. Just try them out. Come to Micheo Music. They have them set up. Just come and listen to them. Take them home and just try them out, okay, guys? Because they are an awesome, awesome pair of speakers. So yeah, follow me on I am Zacchae'us Paul on Instagram, on Twitter at I am Zach Paul, especially on YouTube as well as Zacchae'us Paul. All be linked down below in the bio. So yeah, peace.